Good Friday morning out there, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great week out there. We got lots to go over in this video here today, guys. If you guys have not subscribed to the YouTube channel down below, definitely press the subscribe button here. Get your family, get your friends, get anybody you know to subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. We are breaking down the weather pattern here in this video very well. We have tropical weather update for you guys. We got an update on the drought monitor. We actually got, an update here on the severe weather potential moving into this weekend. A strong summertime cold front is going to bring some heavy rainfall with that severe weather across the northern United States. We'll break that down as well as another heat wave moving into the middle portion of August here for much of the United States as well. We're going to be breaking all of this down here in this video today, guys, so stick with me and also like the video at the end. Much appreciated. So looking here, again, we've showed you this graphic here many times in the past couple of videos. This is the La Nina graphic here. We're kind of showing you the Nino index. Again, the negative numbers are La Nina, and we're actually in a moderate La Nina right now here at negative 0.6. That is a moderate La Nina. Negative 1.0 is actually a strong La Nina, and then once you get up to 0.0 here, that is actually ENSO neutral. So we're actually firmly in a moderate La Nina right now, and I really did want to kind of talk to you guys about the Atlantic hurricane season. I know there's a lot of chatter out there saying, well, this hurricane season is going to be, since it's starting off slow, we're going to have a well below average season. Well, think again, because we're going to be breaking this down here for you guys to kind of make you understand what we're kind of looking at as meteorologists out here and kind of what we're looking at here with this, tropical weather, season across the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific as well. But we're kind of going to be focusing on the Atlantic here mostly in this video. So looking here at the La Nina, and we have very cold waters across the equatorial Pacific here. We got, bursts of some colder waters right along the coast there, of the western coast of South America, moving westward here across the equatorial Pacific. That is your La Nina, guys, and we have a blob of warmer waters here to the north. So to some degree, the La Nina is actually affecting the hurricane season. But you can kind of see these bursts a little bit here the last 7 days, the 7-day change here of the ocean, the sea surface temperatures. You can see the colder bursts along those, the equatorial Pacific here in the central Pacific. And yeah, we're seeing that. And that is the stronger La Nina starting to show up. We got the moderate La Nina now. It is actually indicated that this could become a strong La Nina rather soon within the portions here of late August into early September. So that will also play into the active hurricane season as well. Currently looking at the satellite across much of the central Atlantic here, we're seeing the Atlantic, the Gulf, and the Caribbean very quiet right now. And that will remain the case here. We got kind of an open wave of some convection coming off of portions there of the western African coast. That is actually going to kind of be suppressed by some of that Saharan dust here, continuing to kind of, shut down the hurricane season. But let's kind of look at this a little bit further, guys. This is where we're at right now here through that August 4th through the August 11th timeframe. We're early on in this period, and the climate forecasting systems model this year has been very good at depicting not only the land features here for some precipitation, but also kind of the hurricane season kind of capturing this very well, in stride as well. So you can kind of see it's showing orange and, yellow anomalies here, and that is actually drier than normal conditions with all that dry Saharan dust moving across much of the Atlantic here. We do have some, green anomalies showing up with some slightly above normal precipitation across parts of the Caribbean and the Gulf, but that's just mainly kind of some tropical moisture getting caught up here with some of these frontal boundaries dropping off of the U.S. Not too big of a deal. So really kind of during this period from August 4th here through August 11th here, we're right in the middle of, this period. We're not really seeing much here in the way of precipitation or any tropical features here of note. But things do change, I think, as we get toward the middle of August. During that August 11th through the 18th time frame here, you can still see some drier anomalies coming off of Africa, but there is a little bit of a signal here, at least starting in the climate forecasting systems model, of some precipitation starting to gather and kind of, break open the hurricane season potentially as we get towards, I think, the middle of August, if not late August here, as we kind of see some precipitation starting to build up north and east here of South America and kind of moving in toward the Lesser Antilles. Now, does this mean we're going to see hurricanes right off the bat in the middle of August? Probably not, but we're definitely going to be seeing some kind of, activity starting to percolate across portions of the Southern Atlantic, kind of kicking off the season just a little bit further as we get toward the middle of August. But it's really as we kind of get toward late August, guys, August 18th through the 25th timeframe, we really start to see these blue shaded colors coming off of Africa. And I know this is far down here in the southern Atlantic Basin, but we're really starting to see these anomalies start to build across the Gulf Coast here and even portions of the Caribbean as well, more widespread as we get towards the late portion here of August. So I really do think the hurricane season is going to kind of be ramping up in a big way as we move a little bit forward towards the rest of August here. And kind of looking at September here, let's kind of move it a little bit further into next month as well. Yeah, it's showing a very active pattern across most of the southern Atlantic here. We have a lot of these greens and blues showing up. That's a lot of precipitation, maybe some tropical entities starting to build across the southern Atlantic that could actually kind of move toward the Caribbean. We're also seeing some, darker greens and some blues showing up across the western and northern Gulf Coast. That is actually kind of showing some above normal precipitation with maybe some tropical features there as we move into September as well, and even some greens showing up. Even some green showing up across western portions of the Atlantic Basin as well, off the East Coast as we get towards especially the middle of September. So that is something to watch. And then even October, guys, look how active it looks, at least across the western Atlantic, perhaps even the Caribbean here as we get towards October. So we're really starting to see a signal as we get toward late August especially, and then getting into September, October, really going to start to see this hurricane season start to ramp up in a big way as we kind of move a little bit closer. And then even, guys, looking at November, very active across the Atlantic, getting into the Caribbean and southern Gulf there still, even as we move into November. So let's kind of look at this a little bit more, guys, to kind of show you what I'm talking about here with, slow starts to hurricane seasons don't always mean it's going to actually be below normal. Let's look at all the hurricanes here, going all the way back to 1992, hurricanes after August 15th. And you guys can see that we're only at August, 5th, 6th time frame right now. Going all the way back to the August 16th timeframe, we actually had Hurricane Andrew back in 1992. That actually started on August 16th and went all the way through August 28th here as a storm in general. And then we saw Hurricane Wilma back in 2005 with October 15th was the start time with that one, and that went through all the way through October 27th. And as we all know, 2005 was a very active year. We had Hurricane Katrina, a very catastrophic hurricane hitting the Gulf Coast August 23rd through August, the end of August there in 2005. 2005 was actually a very active season. And then you guys do remember here Hurricane Sandy, or, better yet known as Superstorm Sandy. That was in 2012 with, October into November. So that was an active October as well. Hurricane Harvey, very big flooding, concerns with that. That had a lot of flooding potential with it, and that did, prove its full potential with the flooding. That was back in 2017, and that was August 17th through September 3rd. Hurricane Irma, that was a very strong wind maker across portions of the Caribbean and portions of Florida, into the Bahamas as well, with, August 30th through September 13th. That was also in 2017, and even Hurricane Maria was September 16th through, October 2nd, and also in 2017. As you guys well know, 2017 was a very, very active hurricane season, and that did pan out. So again, just kind of looking at this, hurricanes after August 15th, there have been a lot of them, and a lot of these are actually pretty high-end hurricanes, category 3s, 4s, 5s. Superstorm Sandy was a big wind maker across the East Coast. Hurricane Katrina, big flooding maker, big wind maker. Wilma was the same way. Hurricane Harvey was actually a slower mover, so a lot more flooding component to this hurricane as well. And even Irma, a lot of wind here, a lot of wind and a lot of flooding with that hurricane as well. So again, I want to stress this, completely to you guys that, yeah, the hurricane season is actually still upon us as we move into the Atlantic. And kind of proving this to you guys even further, that the Atlantic hurricane season, really, we're only kind of right here. We're really kind of after this August 1st time frame. It's really just starting to ramp up just now. We really don't peak in the Atlantic hurricane season until we get to the middle of September and going through the early portion there of October. So we really still have a few months left of really some big hurricane potential as we go through, the rest of the, the fall here as well. So we're still in the summer, guys. We still have the fall and even the early winter here with this La Nina to kind of move through with the Atlantic hurricane season. And the reason why it's been so busy here in the Eastern Pacific, it's always been that way climatologically. We're kind of peaking right now and kind of going to stay kind of at its peak all the way through the middle of October before it starts to level off there a little bit more as we get towards November, December into the Eastern Pacific Basin. So that's kind of why it's been so active. Looking at the Atlantic right now, the Caribbean, the Gulf, we got nothing going here right now, and that looks to stay the way at least the next 5 to 7 days. But I do believe toward the middle and end of August, we're really going to start to kick off this tropical storm and even hurricane season across these areas in a big way. And once it gets going, guys, I really think it's going to be hard to stop here as we get all the way through the fall and early winter. So we'll watch that. But watching here the tropical features across the the central and eastern Pacific right now. Just to the east-southeast here of Hawaii, there's actually a 50% chance of development over the next 5 days of a tropical system here just east-southeast of Hawaii we're watching. So we'll continue to watch that. And even higher potential for a tropical development here just off the southwest of Mexico here and south of the Baja of California over the open waters, moving more to the west and northwest here over the next few days. It has a 70% chance of development the next 2 days, the next 48 hours, and it has a 90% chance of development the next 5 days. So it actually has a very high probability of development with some warmer waters over this area here in the next couple of days, if not the next few days. And you can see that here on the satellite imagery, we got some convection, some thunderstorm activity across the Eastern Pacific Basin. This is really starting to gather in intensity just a little bit more, and we'll really start to see kind of a low pressure center start to develop out of this, and this could become their next tropical depression, tropical storm, or hurricane as we move here through the next few days. So we'll continue to watch this as it has a 90% chance of development potential in the Eastern Pacific Basin. But looking here at the mainland U.S., we have a lot of flooding here that did occur across southern portions there of Missouri, southern Illinois. Again, we had some widespread minor flooding issues, at least, if not moderate flooding issues. Heavy rainfall near St. Louis, down toward Cape Girardeau there into southeastern, Missouri, southern portions of Missouri toward the Missouri Ozarks, portions of southern Illinois, Springfield, Illinois, getting down towards Carbondale, Mount Vernon, some of the Champaign-Urbana area there in eastern Illinois. Yeah, a lot of heavy rain, widespread rainfall amounts here in the purples, the reds, and even the oranges here of 2 to 4 inches or more of rainfall. So we did have a lot of rainfall there. Even up toward the Detroit area, guys, the last 24 hours, we actually saw some heavier rainfall with rainfall amounts of 1 inch to even 1.5 inches in those areas as well. This is the updated U.S. Drought Monitor by the National Drought Mitigation Center, and you can actually see that the drought is worsening across Texas, worsening across western Kansas and southwestern Nebraska, northeastern portions there of Colorado, and of course the drought is unfortunately worsening across portions there of Nevada, Utah, California, and portions of Oregon. Even some drought concerns up in the northern portions of Montana. We actually do see some benefits from that heavier rainfall across portions there of southern Missouri toward the Ozarks region and towards southeastern Missouri, where they did have that 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. That was actually some beneficial rain, so we'll take that there. But we are also concerned about some drought starting to develop around portions of the Cape Cod area, getting up into eastern Massachusetts, Rhode Island, eastern Connecticut, and up into portions there right along the coast there in the northeast. We're watching actually severe drought starting to occur across those areas. So places like Boston, getting towards portions there of Rhode Island, like I said, and Cape Cod, we're really starting to see that severe drought expand in those areas as well. So kind of looking at some more precipitation, opportunities across the United States. We got that monsoonal weather continuing strong throughout this afternoon across the southwestern United States. We got another strong summertime cold front pushing through the Dakotas, getting into western Minnesota as we head into this afternoon, and even some scattered showers in the northeast. But our focus is going to be on that cold front across the northern United States. And that's where the Storm Prediction Center has a day one outlook here of a slight risk for severe weather across northwestern portions of Minnesota into the eastern Dakotas, even a marginal risk extending down here just to the east of Rapid City into these areas as well, even a marginal risk of severe weather across portions of New Jersey, southeastern portions of Pennsylvania, the Washington, D.C. area, into Maryland, Delaware, and even portions there of eastern Virginia as well as we head into this afternoon. Mainly just a damaging wind and large hail threat out of those. The tornado threat is less than 2%. So we're not too worried about that for today. But looking here at the flooding alerts, yeah, we got widespread, flood watches across Kentucky, southern portions there of Indiana, southern Ohio, much of West Virginia, with continued flooding concerns there. Even some flood watches across Nevada there into portions of southern California and sporadically here across New Mexico as well with that monsoonal weather. But right across the middle of the country, guys, in those orange shaded areas, that is a heat advisory with ongoing heat wave across the middle of the country from the Dakotas all the way down through Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and into North Texas as well, including places like Tulsa, Oklahoma City, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, getting all the way up into Wichita, Topeka, Kansas City potentially, and then getting up here in portions like North Platte, Nebraska, near the Rapid City area. A lot of these areas impacted by those heat advisories as we head into this afternoon. Even some heat advisories up toward the Boston area, New York City. Some of these areas are actually under that orange shaded area as well, and those are also heat advisories across the Northeast. So looking at the temperatures, why we have that heat advisory across this area, yeah, we have widespread highs in the lower 100s from the Dakotas, especially South Dakota, all the way down through North Texas. We could be approaching 105 here across multiple areas into North Texas, Wichita Falls, the Austin area, Dallas-Fort Worth. A lot of these areas approaching or exceeding 105 as we head into this afternoon. Even places like, Wichita, Kansas, getting up to near 102 this afternoon, 94 in Boston, 91 degrees there in New York City with the higher humidity. We could be talking about heat indices around 100 degrees. But looking more at the severe weather potential, going back to that, kind of looking at the slight risk for severe weather, yeah, we'll have a lot of low-level moisture starting to advect northward into this area. We'll have upper 60s to low 70 dew points developing across eastern Dakotas here into the western and northwestern Minnesota, even getting up into portions of Ontario there in southeastern Manitoba. Some dew points around 70 degrees can be expected as we head toward late this afternoon. We do have a plume of some, moderate instability starting to develop across the eastern Dakotas and northwestern portions of Minnesota in that slight risk area as we head towards the peak heating time frame of the day. This is about 21Z, so about 3-4 o'clock this afternoon. We'll continue to watch that. I'm also concerned about kind of the large hail potential. We have those lapse rates. We talked about this before, where as you go up in the atmosphere, naturally the columns of air actually from the low levels to the mid levels and the upper levels of the atmosphere start to cool off. But the stronger the colors here, the more of the reds that are showing up, that is actually 8 degrees Celsius per kilometer. So as you go up in the atmosphere, every 8 degrees Celsius per kilometer as you go up, it's actually going to be cooling off. So every 1 kilometer you go up in the atmosphere, it'll be cooling off 8 degrees Celsius. So that is some strong cooling, and that will provide the threat for some large hail. So we'll watch that. So the composite reflectivity later on this afternoon, we'll start to see some isolated bubbler type of thunderstorms, maybe some smaller hail out of these towards north central portions of Minnesota, getting into the eastern Dakotas as we head toward that 3-4 o'clock time frame. Really starting to see this fill in with kind of a broken line of some supercell thunderstorms as we get into portions here of the early evening hours. So around 6, 7, 8 o'clock, we'll really start to see some large hail producing storms, maybe some damaging winds around 60 to 70 miles per hour. Cannot be ruled out from portions of South Dakota up through southeastern North Dakota and into northern and western portions there of Minnesota. That will continue to kind of swing its way to the east toward the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, starting to kind of weaken as it kind of outruns the better instability into those areas. But I think some isolated supercells will remain a possibility across portions of eastern South Dakota as we head into the overnight hours. We'll have to watch as well with some more large hail potential there. And then we'll continue to see kind of this march of, west to east. A lot of these storms will be moving over the same areas even as we get towards Saturday morning. Looking at the precipitation, yeah, widespread rainfall amounts across western Minnesota into South Dakota here of, a half inch to an inch of rain. A lot of heavy rainfall across Nevada, which is good. We have a lot of rainfall across portions there of western Wyoming into much of the Intermountain West, which is some good news as well. Unfortunately, we have more rain for portions of Kentucky into the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic where they do not need the rainfall. Rainfall amounts here could be around an inch to an inch and a half again in some of the hard-hit areas for flooding once again as we head into this afternoon. So I wish I had better news, but unfortunately we have another day of rain across the Ohio Valley as we head into this afternoon, and that's why the Weather Prediction Center actually has a slight risk for excessive rainfall and flash flooding potential across eastern Kentucky, southern Ohio, southern Indiana, much of West Virginia, as well as Maryland, getting up into southern Pennsylvania, even sporadic areas there, some slight risk for excessive rainfall across Nevada, northern Utah, including the Salt Lake City area, getting into portions of southwestern Colorado and southeastern Arizona as well. Even along that cold front, guys, we have a marginal risk for some heavy rainfall with those training of thunderstorms moving over the same areas from west to east across Minnesota and the eastern Dakotas as we head into later today. But as we move into your Saturday, that cold front will slowly kind of sag its way to the south and east here, getting closer towards the middle Mississippi Valley and the western Great Lakes, providing that threat for some heavy rainfall and maybe even some low-end severe weather. But before that, yeah, we have a lot of heat out there ahead of that cold front. We have temperatures widespread middle to upper 90s, if not lower 100s for heat, for high temperatures as we head in towards the afternoon on your Saturday, August 6th here tomorrow. 104 up toward portions there of Wichita, Kansas, 97 in Kansas City, 93 here in the St. Louis area, 101 in Dallas-Fort Worth, 102 in the Wichita Falls area. But look at behind the cold front, guys. Look at the refreshing air across the Dakotas into north central Minnesota, back into eastern Montana. Widespread mid-70s, if not areas struggling to reach 70 degrees, which is some very beneficial news after all this heat across those areas. But again, we'll continue to see this move toward the south as well. And as it does so, we'll have kind of that marginal risk, kind of the lower end, 1 out of 5 type of risk for severe weather across southern Minnesota, western Wisconsin, northern Iowa, southeastern portions there of South Dakota, as well as extreme northeastern Nebraska as well. So places like Rochester, Minnesota, La Crosse, Wisconsin, the Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin area, and Sioux Falls, Sioux City, all these areas, Mason City, Waterloo, Iowa. Some of these areas will be impacted by the chance for some isolated severe weather. Again, mainly just some damaging winds here and some large hail. The tornado risk is again below 2% here on your Saturday. But lots of moisture, guys. Look at the low-level environment with the moisture here on your Saturday afternoon. Widespread, guys. Mid to upper 70 dew points. It's air you can wear out there. If you walk outside, you can definitely feel the air out there, and that's what we'll be feeling here ahead of that cold front on Saturday. You can clearly see where that cold front will be at around 21Z, around mid-afternoon there on your Saturday, around 3, 4 o'clock. Behind that cold front, dew points will be dropping into the mid-50s, more refreshing air back into northern Minnesota and portions of the northern plains behind that cold front for Saturday afternoon. But ahead of that cold front, we have a lot of instability. That CAPE, the convective available potential energy, we'll be seeing that rise here into the 3,000 to even 4,000 joules per kilogram range, with some purples and reds showing up here across southern Minnesota, around the Rochester area, getting into places like Mason City, Waterloo, Dubuque, Iowa, La Crosse. A lot of these areas here we'll be seeing that stronger instability Saturday afternoon ahead of the cold front. But the lapse rates aren't as strong. So the column of air as we go up into the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere won't be as intense here as what we're seeing today. So the large hail threat might be a little bit lower on Saturday, but the damaging wind threat will still be there as in that marginal risk zone. So looking at the composite reflectivity, you can see some isolated stronger storms developing across western Iowa, the southern and portions there of Minnesota, eastern Dakotas as we get toward the late afternoon. Those will spread eastward. We'll start to see kind of some line segments of storms developing to the east here towards La Crosse, towards the Rochester, Minnesota area, places like, Sioux City, Mason City, maybe the Des Moines area as we head toward the early evening hours. Those will continue to kind of propagate to the east here across portions of southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, and portions of Wisconsin kind of as we get into the late afternoon and early evening hours here going into your Sunday morning. And again, a lot of these areas will have this, repeated rounds of some heavy rainfall here across, especially Rochester, Minnesota. A lot of some heavy rainfall, at least with the NAM model showing this. So definitely some concern there. Widespread rainfall amounts, guys, from eastern South Dakota all the way through portions of southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, into Wisconsin there, especially central and northern Wisconsin here, the north woods of Wisconsin. We're seeing, an inch to even 2 inches locally with some of these rainfall amounts here, even some widespread ½ to 3/4 of an inch back into Wyoming, southeastern Montana here as well. And unfortunately, guys, another day for some showers and storms down into the Ohio Valley with widespread rainfall amounts of 1/4 to ½ an inch down into Kentucky, West Virginia, into portions of Tennessee, as well as southern Ohio as well. So we'll continue to watch that. And that's why they do have a marginal risk across the Ohio Valley and portions of the mid-Atlantic there as well. But we're kind of watching that slight risk for some excessive rainfall and flash flooding across Wisconsin, Minnesota, northern Iowa, and southeastern portions of South Dakota, and even across those monsoonal areas across the Front Range of the Rockies near Denver, getting down toward the Phoenix area, Tucson, Arizona. Some of these areas here could be seeing some excessive rainfall and runoff from some of that heavier rain as well. Moving into Sunday, the cold front doesn't really move too much. Sunday morning, the cold front will still be kind of north of portions there of Illinois, north of Missouri. So we're still going to see that repeated rounds for some heavy rainfall. On Sunday, we're not looking at a severe weather threat right now, but this could be, changing. We could have a marginal risk added here in later outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center. So we'll continue to watch that as we move through time. Let's kind of zoom out and show you kind of the picture here of what we're seeing. We have ahead of that cold front, you can see all the warm temperature anomalies showing up across the Great Lakes, the middle Missouri Valley. Behind that, likely below normal temperatures across those areas as we move into Sunday, August 7th here across the northern plains, portions there of the Rockies and into the upper Midwest there as well. A lot more warmer anomalies across the Pacific Northwest into southwestern Canada, places like Alberta, British Columbia, and off the Aleutian Islands there, well to the south. And then we're going to see that cold front continue to sag its way slowly to the south and east as we get into Monday time frame. And even as we get into Tuesday, early next week, and toward the middle of next week, we'll start to see that cold front move down to the south here with some refreshing air. But then it looks like a ridge of high pressure will start to collapse on itself again, just like we saw earlier here, late July and early August here, the first couple of days of August. That process will happen once again with that ridge kind of collapsing over this trough and this cold front here as we kind of move into the middle of next week, bringing another heat wave across the Midwest and the central plains and southern plains as we get towards the middle of August. And you can really see that here on the temperature, department here on the European forecast model as we get toward that Sunday, August 7th time frame. Widespread 90s and 100s there. That continues here on your Monday. Refreshing air behind that, and then you can see some heat starting to build up across portions there of the northern plains, the Rockies, and portions of the Pacific Northwest as we get toward the middle of next week. But still that refreshing air, kind of mid 70s around Toronto, mid 70s near the Chicago lakefront there, into portions of interior New England. Some areas could struggle to get out of the mid 60s, so definitely some refreshing air, kind of a little taste of fall, if you will, across these areas as we get into early and middle portion of next week. The Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from August 10th through the 14th here as we get toward that Wednesday, Thursday time frame and beyond next week does favor another heat wave above normal temperature wise across much of the northern U.S., especially getting down here into portions of Kansas as well. And underneath that ridge, again, a lot of below normal precipitation, and you have a lot of sinking air, but that monsoonal weather, guys, will be going strong across the Salt Lake City area, the Las Vegas area, getting into Reno, Nevada. A lot of these areas will be going strong with that precipitation here as well. Even a little bit of slightly above normal precipitation across far southern Texas we'll be watching with some of that tropical moisture as well. Even as we kind of extend this a little bit farther toward, the true middle of August, guys, the true middle of the month, toward the August 12th through the 18th time frame, the Climate Prediction Center's 8 to 14 day temperature outlook does kind of have this heat wave kind of with some staying power across the Midwest, the central and southern plains, kind of inching its way over toward the Great Lakes toward the 18th time frame. And again, the below normal temperatures will continue across Arizona, Utah, Nevada, and Southern California with that monsoon weather. You can clearly see still some above normal precipitation there across the western and southwestern U.S. And again, underneath that ridge, that below normal precipitation will continue during that period as well. Even as we look into September, guys, it really looks kind of warm, kind of peeking into, previewing the September forecast for you guys a little bit here. We're seeing some warm anomalies, especially across the western U.S. and southern Canada, guys, from British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, western Ontario. Much of southern Canadian prairies will be warm as well as the United States, across portions of those same areas from Texas all the way up to the Dakotas and perhaps along the Gulf Coast there as well. And we are starting to see some precipitation anomalies continuing for the monsoonal weather across the Four Corners region. We're continuing to see some above normal precipitation across the Gulf Coast. We'll have to watch in September for that hurricane season to really start to ramp up like I was showing you earlier on in the video. So we'll definitely continue to watch that as well. Well, I know that was a long video, guys. Thank you for sticking with me in the video. Again, I just really wanted to break down the tropics with you guys, break down the severe weather pattern and just your whole weather forecast, just breaking it down for you guys so you guys understand it. Thank you for watching the weather forecast. Again, I'm Weather on the Go. Remember to like my video, press the thumbs up button down below. And again, if you guys, want to jot down any comments, questions, concerns, I'll definitely be open to answer those later on today. And again, more importantly, guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Again, I appreciate all the new subscribers out there. Again, it wouldn't hurt, guys, just to press the subscribe button one time, and I promise you, we have some great weather content coming your way through the weekend and beyond. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great Friday out there and a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.